Kyle Klingman with Track Wrestling. We're going to New Jersey. We have Joe Favia. He is the head wrestling coach at Stevens, a Division III wrestling program. How are you, Joe?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing great. Other than being about, 12 hours away from the Division III NCAA championships, an hour south of where I live. That was a tough blow for me. But what was it like for you? You come all the way up from New Jersey to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and the tournament doesn't take place. How did you guys respond?
Man, I can't sit here and tell you that we responded very well or that I had some kind of stoic speech for our guys. I think one of the most powerful parts about our program and our coaching staff is that, we see ourselves as being very relatable to these guys on the team. We have personal relationships with all of them. It's not, my guys don't refer to me as, hey, coach, or hey, this, they call me Favia. So that maybe just gives you a little bit of insight of what our relationship is. So, when this all went down, it was tough. We left our coaches meeting and, it wasn't an hour after our coaches meeting that it got canceled, So, I'm coming back to the hotel with our coach Anthony, and, we got our tickets for the parents, and, they told us how many people we were going to be allowed in. At the coaches meeting, they didn't even tell us it was no spectators. We had just thought it was going to be a limited amount of fans. So, we weren't even thinking, okay, they're going to cancel this tournament. There was still another step left, they still had to eliminate fans before they kicked us out of there. So, we were really caught off guard. Some of the guys were just relaxing in the hotel. And then as soon as we pulled into the driveway, we got a text message from the NCAA, letting us know that everything had gotten canceled, brought the guys up into my room. And, we just sat them down, and they all knew, we got a bunch of really smart guys on the team, and we knew that this was a possibility, although we weren't planning for it. We were just trying to keep our heads down and get ready to roll. We were in a great position to win a national title, and we were just ready to work. So, man, when I told these guys, there was some points of silence. There were tears from the coaching staff. There were tears from the athletes. We had 3 seniors there who were either trying to win their first national title, or trying to get onto the podium for the first time. And this was their last opportunity, and that was gut-wrenching, still to this day, it's tough to talk about. You put so much in, not just as a coaching staff, but as a, blood, sweat, and tears. That's ironic, but, or cliche, but man, that's what it is. So it was tough. It was definitely tough. And there was no script for that one. I can tell you that.
You guys had 7 qualifiers. Augsburg had 8, Loras had 8, and then there were some right in there with the 5 to 7 range. But you said you were talking about winning a national championship. What makes you think you guys could have done it in 2020?
Yeah, we're always preparing to win a national championship. When I took over this program 6 years ago, that's a trajectory every single year. That's how I grew up. That's how I learned how to compete. You prepare for the best, and you go out and you tackle that head on. And, we finally put ourselves in a position where we had the numbers going into the tournament that we thought were necessary in order to win a national title. Having 7 there, and with Loras and Augsburg having 8, we were there. We were ready to go, and we thought that our guys were chomping at the bit for it. They were excited. They knew that we were in a position to do those things. And I just like the way that we stacked up against those teams. We've competed against those guys at the national tournament before. In head-to-head matchups, we've fared very well against them. The way that we compete in Hoboken, is a very physical, hands-on, relentless type of pressure that you develop in the Midwest. It's what I developed from my time at Iowa. So I feel like we're right in there with what those teams bring to the table, and it's my opinion that we do it better than them. So we were ready to go. We thought we had the points in our favor, and we had 2 guys who were ranked number 1 in the country, top seeds in their weight class. We had other guys who we knew were 1 spot away from just getting on the podium. We had some a bunch of young guys in there who we knew were going to make some noise, and at the end of the day, we were just driven to do it. And really, the bottom line is, in the 4 walls of the Stevens wrestling room, we were ready to be national champions. And nothing else matters outside of that.
Division III product is really amazing because you're in Hoboken, and you just had mentioned that you can see what the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, right out your window when you're at your campus. So you can see Manhattan. You take a Wartburg that's in cozy Waverly, or Loris that's in Dubuque. You have Augsburg in the Twin Cities. So you just have this diverse geographic area for the D3 product. And then if you learn the history, you know that it was the power for Division III was the East Coast, and then it got strangled by Augsburg and Wartburg, which is still going on to this day. Talk about that Division III product and what that's like to be on the East Coast, knowing that there's a lot of power in the Midwest.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I had always seen, even when I competed at Stevens for part of my career. It was my mentality that it was always, why not us? And I feel like there's a lot of coaches in the division who feel like, it's a battle that can't be won to compete with Augsburg and Wartburg. They've done it for 20 some odd years. We would love to take home a team trophy. And just like you said, it wasn't always that way. We have a lot of talented wrestlers on the East Coast. And we used to be the ones who ran the show. So, when I came in at Stevens, I knew that it was something that I wanted to take handle of. I mean, we have one of the best academic institutions in the country, right? So my thought was, when I took over, if we can create a wrestling program here that's next to none, that's winning national championships, then my recruiting pitch is easy, and we recruit a lot against Division I talent. We recruit against guys that end up going to Columbia or Bucknell or Princeton or Harvard or Stanford, Northwestern, those high Lehigh, those high academic schools. So if I could build the program to a point where we're competing for a national title realistically, which we have been doing for the last 5 years, then the academics are already speaking for themselves, right? Then I could just walk into a recruit's, living room and just say, hey, you want to come and wrestle for one of the best programs in the country. You want to get one of the best educations in the country and get the job placement that we can provide you at Stevens, then let's sign up and get this done. And that level of athletic performance is not seen by the higher academic programs in Division I, right? So I saw this as an opportunity to set ourselves apart. And when I say that, I'm not saying set ourselves apart from other Division III programs. I mean, set ourselves apart from every program in the country, right? For me, there is no line between what Division I athletes can do and Division III athletes can do in Division II. And we lose that sometimes in Division III when we go out recruiting, like, I can't talk to this guy. He's going to go Division I, hands down. But if you can provide them a product, you can provide them the athletic stimulus that they need to grow and get better, then who cares what division it is, right? I mean, we're preparing to win world championships. And if you're preparing to do anything less than that, then you're underachieving, right? So our philosophy in the Stevens Wrestling Room is we're prepared for the 1%ers, right? If we could beat the 1%ers, the national champs, the world champions, if we can prepare like we're going to be the best in the world, then everything else is easy, right? Everybody who we step across the mat from, we're going to dominate those guys. So that's our mindset. And I know I veered off topic here, but when you take that philosophy and that culture and you bring that into a place like Hoboken, New Jersey, where we have the academics already, where we're in a hotbed for wrestling, not just in New Jersey, but obviously in Pennsylvania and all those surrounding areas where it's easy for us to pull from. I mean, it's an easy thing to do. It was an easy path for me to see, when I had the opportunity to take over at my alma mater. It was like, hey, all of these pieces of the puzzle are right here. They just need somebody to put them together, give a vision and instill a culture. And man, Stevens, my coaching staff, my athletes have made it easy for me. They make me look good. All I did was implement things that I learned across my journey in wrestling, from USA Wrestling, from, my youth program, to what I learned out at Iowa from Tom and Terry, and just implemented those systems right into what we have here at Stevens. So now it's like, hey, we just need to execute. We have the right plan. We have the right structure. We have the right environment to win. We just need to execute this game plan. And we felt like 2020 was our opportunity to do it. We had the right horses in the right place to get running and put the team points on the board. everybody was, hey, we're top 3 in this tournament, and that's all that matters. Like individually, we want everybody in the top 3. When you put 7 guys in the top 3, you pull out 2 or 3 national champs. I mean, the tournament's yours. You'll run away with it. So that was our thought. And yeah, why not us on the East Coast? Why not bring it back to New Jersey, where we think that it belongs in Hoboken? We're right there. We're chomping at the bit. We brought home a team trophy, 2 years ago, I think in 18. We underperformed. We didn't even put everybody on the podium that we brought. And I think we only had 5 or 6 guys at that tournament, and we only put, I think, 3 on the podium. So to do that and take home a team trophy, that was like an eye-opening experience. It's like, hey, we're not far off. We're not far off. We could have done it this year if we put everybody on the podium. So it's just about putting those pieces of the puzzle together. But yeah, we want it. We want it in New Jersey. We want it on the East Coast where it started.
Do you teach your guys that history of, hey, it's been Augsburg or Wartburg since 1995, and before that it was the East Coast? Are they aware of that?
Yeah, you know what? I'm only 30 years old, man, but I am disconnected from the social media and things like that, and looking up statistics. That was never a stronghold of mine. But man, I'll tell you what, my guys know how to do it. So that information to them, they know it. They know it, and it fuels them without me even having to bring it up. They come into those tournaments and they know, like, hey, these are the top dogs. They've been here for a long time. It's our turn. And it's almost easier to be the underdog and get after it than it is to be the top guy. Anybody at the top will tell you that. We've heard that many times. But so I don't need to tell them that stuff. That stuff's written on the wall and etched in stone. So these guys are engaged and part of want to be a national champion and take that team title is to know history. Know what came before you, pay your respects to that, but go out there and take what you believe to be yours.
Your journey is pretty incredible. You graduated as a 2-time All-American in 2013, but then you started right away being a head coach. I don't even know in my mid-20s that I was even close to being ready for something like that. Yet you're in your mid-20s, you're 30 now in your 6th year. How'd you kind of expedite that process and get ready to be a coach in your mid-20s?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm still even ready to be a head coach, right? I mean, I'm learning so much every single day. There's so many new things that come up that, you just roll with it. It's like wrestling, to be honest. Where, you hear from some of the best athletes in the world. The best times are the times that you're learning, and ideally that's every single day. So I don't know that I was ready. I don't know that I am ready right now. I'm just doing the best that I can and instilling philosophies and culture in my guys and trying to be relatable to them and put my best foot forward. I mean, it was an interesting situation when I took over the program in 14. As you said, I just had graduated. I was wrestling for the SKWC, the Scarlet Knights at Rutgers on the senior level. And believe it or not, I was down in Annapolis training for the U.S. Open. And I had gotten a call from our athletic director that, he had just let me know, like, hey, our old coach had just stepped down. He's taking another job opportunity. And at that time, I mean, I think we were beginning of February or mid-February, we were getting ready for our conference tournament. And he just asked me, will you step up here and just take over the program? I don't need you to take it in depth, for the long haul. I need somebody who we can, who knows our program, who knows us, and could just get us through the back half of the season. And, that took me, I would love to say it took me 5 minutes to make that decision, or I told him yes right when I was on the phone, but that was a little bit of a struggle for me. I was still, do I want to continue to compete? I'm in this opportunity to go, I think I was maybe a week or 2 out from the Open. Do I want to go out here and continue to wrestle? And, I had called some people who I really trust and lean on for a lot of different things, and they just kind of made it evident to me that head coaching positions, no matter what division you're in, are few and far between, and not only that, but to go out and get a head coaching position, you need to be plugged in. Right. And it's no secret, but when job postings get posted all across the country, right, it's not, they don't look at those resumes and like, hey, this is who I'm going to take. I just read through 50 resumes. I mean, those, for the most part, their top 3 candidates for those positions are already picked out before they even get the resumes through the door. You know, so they kind of pointed all those things out to me. It was like, hey, you got to take this opportunity. If you think that being a head coach is something that you want to do down the road, this opportunity is only going to come around once. And if you go out there and take it and you love it, great. If you don't, then in 2 months you get back to competing, and you know, you're going to be in the room with your guys competing every day anyway. So, you know, you're not going to be too far off. So, you know, I jumped on the opportunity. I called our athletic director back and I was like, hey, I'll take it. You know, let's do it. Let's get these guys through. So, and then I just fell in love with it. You know, it was something I really, really enjoyed. And I enjoyed it. I enjoy coaching more than I enjoy competing. You know, and I think a lot of coaches, you know, it takes time to get to that point for sure. I still love competing, you know, with our guys every day in practice, but excuse me, but I do love coaching. I love showing them how to have success. I love watching them go out and execute what we learned and watch them have success in those exact positions. You know, that's a level of enjoyment that you don't get competing. But man, 24, it was just rolling with the punches. And I'll tell you what, I was just really privileged to be in a situation where I was at my alma mater, and my athletic department knew who I was. All these coaches were around me, surrounding me to help me and support me with the compliance stuff that I needed to do and just get through that process. And I don't know that I could have done it anywhere else, you know, that early on. And, you know, it's funny because for a long time, I mean, they don't keep statistics on this stuff, you know, so for a long time I was just thinking to myself, man, am I the only one who's doing this? Like, am I the only one who's 24 years old? Like, I need some help out here, you know? And it wasn't until this past off season, you know, when I started reaching out to a lot of other coaches across the country and just to kind of get some feedback as to what our process is going to be with COVID and coming back to wrestling, and had the opportunity to chat a lot with Roger Reyna at UPenn. You know, they're close by here. I have guys that we recruit against. You know, Brian Pearsall, who's the assistant there, we coach together at Rutgers. So we have a little bit of a connection. And, you know, I was talking to Roger, and I found out probably 4 months ago that Coach Reyna was 24 years old and got a head coaching job at his alma mater at UPenn for his first one. So, man, I don't know that there's anybody else out there. I didn't think there was anybody except me, but now it's me and Coach Reyna are the only two that I know about. But, you know, he had some nice words of wisdom and stuff like that just when we were talking about that kind of a thing. And it's like, he said it best, but he was like, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. You know, there's a lot coming at you fast, and you got to try to grab what you can and hold on and you know, and just get through it. But, man, it's been a crazy experience. And like I said, I'm still learning every day, you know.
Do you feel like you're compensated adequately for the work you put in?
In what regard?
I mean, just whether it's salary or just the investment from the program, do you feel like you're supported enough for what you do?
I think that we have great support at Stevens. You know, I mean, I'm a guy who wants the best for our athletes, not necessarily for me. I learned a long time ago from my coach, Ernie Monaco, who runs the Edge. You know, if you're going to get into wrestling for a career, you better be prepared to not make very much money. You know, we don't coach to, you know, provide a nest egg for our children, our children's children, and things like that, right? We coach because we love it. We coach because we love our athletes, and you know, it's something that we can wake up in the morning and put our feet on the ground when we get out of bed and freaking love going to work in the morning. And that's why I do what I do. And I get a tremendous amount of support from Stevens. You know, wrestling is obviously one of our best programs there, but regardless of that, you know, like, I feel like I maybe have a little bit of an advantage of some of the other coaches. I'm the only alumni on staff at Stevens, right? So our athletic department and everybody, although they put a lot of support into everybody, I feel like they give me what I need. They help me get to where I want to get to. They see the vision that I have. And at the end of the day, you know, success speaks for itself. So they had to buy into my vision. It was a little bit atypical of what we have at Stevens and some of the other programs. But heck, man, they when I came in and pitched my vision for them, when I actually got hired full-time in June of 2014, they were on it. They were like, hey, let's do it. I think we can do it. I love the vision that you have and how it plays off the academic side of things. And they've always been there for me. And as far as support from our athletes, you know, on the wrestling team, that's the most important thing to me. You know, if I am doing right by our guys and giving them what they need and providing for them and creating opportunities for them, not just in wrestling, but outside of wrestling, then that's all that matters to me. You know, everybody else can be mad at me. Everybody else cannot like me or not understand me. That's all right. I know that the 34 guys I have and women who I have on my team, they believe in me, they believe in the vision, and they know that I'm working for them every day. So when you say, are you compensated well enough? I'm compensated from the support of my team.
You said women there. You have some women in the program.
Yeah, we have a few women who you know, are at Stevens, and, you know, man, I help out a lot of, or I'm on some calls with USA Wrestling and the women's side and helping bring women's wrestling to New Jersey and New York and stuff like that. And, you know, we have an interesting situation at Stevens because we have a few who are on campus and they were like, hey, you know, I wrestled in high school. Can I come and wrestle for you guys? You know, can I get on the mats? And it's hard for me to say no. You know, you come in and you tell me that you want to compete and you want to get better doing something that I love to teach, then we're going to find a way for it to get done. So we had to go through a lot of different compliance steps and things like that to make sure that we were providing for them with equal opportunity, but at the same time not taking away from our men. And what I mean by that is we had to be careful with, you know, how the women, when they go out and compete, are represented. And in Division III, you know, we have these women on our team and they're fully rostered. So gear, food, travel, you know, if they're coming with us to one of our men's matches, all of that stuff is provided for them just as if they were a male on the team. But when they go out and compete, because we only have a men's team and we don't have a women's team and we're not a mixed team, they cannot compete for Stevens. We can't supply their funding when they go out and compete at those events. They can't wear Stevens clothing to the events, et cetera, because what that'll do is it will trigger a mixed program. And then when that triggers a mixed program, then our men's team can no longer compete at the national championship because it's a men's national championship. So there's a lot of nuances in there, but at the end of the day, you know, the women come in and they practice with our men, they practice with each other, they're in during our practice times. We do one-on-ones with them. We're very, very privileged to have a good working relationship with the New York City Regional Training Center, you know, where we have some women from, you know, not just Stevens, but from Columbia as well, where we integrate and provide them opportunities. And, you know, our women are able to compete under the umbrella of the New York City Regional Training Center and are taken care of that way when they go out and compete. So, yeah, there's so many things that are just right place, right time, right opportunities. But yeah, we support women's wrestling, you know, and we think that the bigger they grow and the better they are and the better taken care of and the better represented they are, the better we'll be, you know, as a wrestling group programs. So, yeah.
You mentioned earlier working with Tom and Terry Brands and being in Iowa. What was that? When did that happen? I'm a long-winded talker, but to try to keep it short, when I came into Stevens in 2008, we had a grad assistant at Stevens, a very, very close friend of mine, Danny Song. Danny graduated from the University of Iowa. He's bounced around to just about every program in the country, it seems. The guy's an absolute animal, and he took me under his wing when I came to Stevens. It was his first year there, and man, we just hit it off. You know, we had the same mindset, the same mentality. And in 2008, 2009, the 2008-2009 season, when I had finished up, you know, Danny was like, "Hey, man, I'm going out to Iowa, you know, to help run camps, and I might just move back there permanently. Why don't you come out with me? You know, why don't you come out? I'll get you set up. We'll run camps together at Iowa, and you make a little bit of money. You can continue to train and things like that." And that's where it started, man. I went out there and I absolutely loved it. You know, the pace, the mentality, all that stuff. And I was happy to take my lickings. I was happy to learn from you know, some of the best coaches in the absolute world. And
I ended up going back I lived out in Iowa that entire summer from about June until August. I went back to Stevens for my sophomore year. I didn't have the season that I wanted. I was a national qualifier, but I had lost in the round of 12. And at the national tournament, I called up Danny Song, who was living in Iowa at that point, and I was like, I'm coming. I'm packing my stuff up as soon as this semester ends, and I'm coming out to Iowa. And I talked to Tom on the phone, and it seems to be a reoccurring theme when he talks to people like this. But he was like, hey, pack your stuff up, come out, and we'll figure it out when you get out here. And that was it. There was no more talk than that. And I got out there and found housing. I lived with Ryan Morningstar and a bunch of the other guys, and I went to school out there for that year, and then ended up coming back to Stevens just to finish and get my degree. And that's when I had the opportunity to be a two-time All-American. But I was a member of the Hawkeye Wrestling Club when I went out there, and I was in school, and it was a great experience for me. It took me a long time to figure out how to compete. It took me a long time to figure out that everything is not just technique. Some of it is grit and willpower. Maybe more than some, but you learn that quickly out there in Iowa. And really my experience out there made me a better coach. It taught me that I was not the number one guy when I was at Iowa. That's no secret. Otherwise, I would have been there and graduated from there and been a national champ for the University of Iowa. But a lot of my time was spent taking care of the guys who were competing. I would go in with Lofthouse quite often for one-on-ones, and man, it was like, hey, Favia, you got to wrestle like you're from Oklahoma State, and Ethan, you're gonna get to your takedowns. And I would get taken down 50, 60, 100 times in an hour. But in those moments, I learned not just how to practice hard and compete hard. I learned how to absorb information when information wasn't directly being taught to me. I learned how to get the most out of a practice when it wasn't being focused on me. There was a lot of things that I learned when I was out there, and most importantly, I probably learned how to mature and get the most out of every opportunity. And soak things up like a sponge. And I think that's why Tom and Terry had kept me around for so long. I was always willing to get back up and get back in there, and nothing really kept me down, no matter how bad of a beating I took. There's no secret. There's no secret to the mentality. There's no use in lying to anybody. And man, there's no secret moves. I haven't learned them. I haven't learned them yet. I was just joking with some of the other coaches the other day. And we were just talking technique, and it was like, man, you didn't learn the secret move yet. You didn't learn the move that's going to win you a national title or make you a world champ. And like, man, I don't know. Maybe I got to be in coaching for 10 or 20 years before I get that information passed along to me. But so yeah, there's no secret to it, man. It's just go out and give it your all and be genuine, and everybody feeds off of that. At least that's what I've experienced. The Division III National Tournament is crazy. It really is. I mean, we in Division III, we have more wrestling programs than Division I does, and we have half the number of qualifiers.
I know.
Right? So I mean, like, you show up at the Division III National Tournament, and I'm not telling you that every All-American in Division III can be an All-American in Division I. I'm not telling you that, but I am telling you that you have the top 18 guys at every weight class, and any one of those guys can get on the podium. You see it every year. And man, I've had my own guys who are number one seeds lose first round of the tournament, and you don't think it's possible. You don't think it's possible, but man, every match is a tough match when you show up at that tournament. And every spectator in those arenas they're glued to those matches, because it's like, hey, there could be an upset right here. And it's not even, it could be in the last 10 seconds of the match. How many times have you seen that? And it's a great tournament to be a part of. I really love Division III. I love the opportunities that it provides, and I love the level of wrestling. I really hope that my mentality and vision is infectious, crap, man, I was out for a walk with my dog at 5 o'clock in the morning. I got a German short hair pointer. So this dude is a hunter. He wants to be out early and often. And I was out for a walk with him before the sun even came up. And I saw on my phone that my buddy, Matt McDonough, is going to Cornell. And, Coach DeRoe is a huge mentor of mine. I'm still close with him and his family. He was a big part of my time out at Iowa. And I texted Matt and I was like, man, Coach DeRoe is freaking smiling ear to ear right now, knowing that you came back to Iowa and you're going to be a part of that program that he poured so much into. And not only that, but I just got so amped up knowing that he was at Cornell, because my level now will be elevated, because I know that one of my brothers who we shared blood and sweat together is going to be pushing me on the other side of the coaching corner, and I immediately started thinking about how we can be better, what we need to do, because I know that Matt McDonough is going to hit the ground running when he shows up at Cornell and he can put his hands on his boys. And those guys are gonna flock, and recruits across the country are gonna flock to Mount Vernon, Iowa, and it's because he's there, and it's because of the level of passion and commitment that he has. So that makes my job harder, and I love that. I love that. I don't want it to be easy. I want it to be tough, just like I know he wants it to be tough. And he just by him getting that job, it made me a better coach. It made our program a better coach, a better program. And yeah, that level is always elevating. And I hope that I can continue to rub off in a positive way, for other coaches. And, I know Matt McDonough has got the same vision. So it's all great. It's all deadly. I love it.